Welcome back to Eclipse On Tap, the podcast where we talk about eclipses of all kinds and space in general. I'm one of the two co-hosts, Matt, and with me on this April evening is the other co-host, David.
Welcome, folks. Welcome to the April podcast.
April is here. Spring's here. It's supposed to rain tomorrow.
It's rain and snow is what I hear. But, little chilly start to our spring here in the Midwest. But
yeah, for sure. So this is April, and that means this is episode 20. It's a big time deal. Next month will be 21.
Yeah.
We got to treat Eclipse On Tap out for a nice night at the bar.
We were talking about that. We were talking about doing a 21st episode birthday bash.
Birthday party, a bar crawl.
Pub crawl.
Buying a shot.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty entertaining thing. We could do even we talked about trying to get a brewery to actually allow us to record.
Yeah, we're in
while we were
some stuff up our sleeve.
We could do something like that, but I don't know.
We've always enjoyed interviews. I think we can both agree.
Yeah.
And so we have a few interviews that are kind of up our sleeve.
Yeah.
That were, our interview with Ecliptic Brewing with John Harris from Ecliptic Brewing kind of was like, yeah, this is cool. Like we can do this. We can talk to people they might not necessarily be involved directly with space, but they have some connection one way or the other, and they're interested, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think comes down to just talking to people who have a passion.
Yeah.
For space, and they might not be, a rocket scientist or something like that, but they share that passion that we have for it. So that's the cool thing. And if you can mesh the two with beer, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, his situation was about as perfect as it gets. So on this episode 20, it's fitting that a big milestone episode in 20 is filled with interesting topics. So we have, just as a quick overview, there's really three main topics, and that's the Falcon Heavy second launch, of course, first commercial launch, the Israeli attempt at the moon landing, and then the black hole.
Yep. The three big things.
Yeah, really big things.
Yeah, it was an eventful. Really, honestly, we had like a week there that was just.
Yeah. It
was kind of all crammed into 1 week. So.
Three mainstream news. Even we always talk about that. Like it's big when the mainstream news picks it up. And that's what happened. It's exactly what happened. Yep. So pretty cool.
Yep.
But what are we sipping on this evening?
Well, we went down to the market and we filled up a growler this evening. I actually finished a gravel road race today. Yes, so we decided to cook out and fired up the grill. Had some burgers on the grill here at the pub. Mm-hmm. And what did you fill this with? This
was the Cellarman is the name of the brewery.
Yeah.
And the name of it was a lager called Trasher.
Yeah.
And I was like kind of wondering if maybe it was a typo and that it was supposed to be called Thrasher.
Yeah.
Because Trasher doesn't really sound that appealing.
No.
It kind of makes it sound like they were like, we were just going to toss this batch. But it tastes good. It's very much a lager. It has that lagery flavor.
Yeah, it tastes good. I like it.
Yeah, it's
smooth.
Light, easy drinking. Not anything space themed, but we do have a space beer for the second half if we wish to crack that one.
I think we do wish.
Yeah. We do. Yeah. And then there's been some changes, of course, to our set.
Yes, and the reason for the change I'll get to in a minute, but what we have here, instead of the typical the mirror that we had, which I still do have, it's just in a different location now, which I'm about to get to, but this newspaper is from Apollo 13. It's basically I actually got this, I found it on eBay, but it's a newspaper from Apollo 13 from the Herald Examiner, LA newspaper, local newspaper, but I thought it was really cool. Had the mission patch on it and has a really cool article on there. I kind of like the older articles, older newspapers and stuff like that. So I actually have two more just around the corner in the pub, which is this kind of the story behind why the newspaper is right here. So the mirror I actually moved. So my dad actually made an actual bar out of an old entertainment center that he had. So there's actually a physical bar now just around the corner behind me, and that's where I put the mirror back behind there. So
and it looks great. It does. It looks actually really legit. Which is to think that it was an entertainment center. Yeah. You would never know.
No, you would have no clue. You look at the thing and you'd think, oh, that's badass. But
it's awesome.
He's quite the handyman. So we have an official bar, which we actually are talking about adding a possible new segment that we can do. Matt and David at the bar,
kind of like in between. So we always have our break. If you're a new listener, our whole vibe is that we are enthusiastic about space, whether it be really anything, and that's the reason why we say eclipses of all kinds in space in general, because the inspiration was the eclipse, but then we want to talk about rocket launches and these findings with the black hole, all sorts of astronomy related things. And really it's done over a beer, because that's that casual flair that allows us to just, it's not too nitty gritty into the details. And so we always have a beer. We usually fill up that beer for the second half. And it's typically, at least on the video side, which the video is pretty new to us, just like music. So we might actually have a refilling session.
We could do that.
Just like a little side thing. Like
bring the GoPros over there, and that'd be something we could do.
Vlog style.
And we already kind of broke in the bar. We opened up a bottle of Welsh whiskey. A couple nights ago, and
that's also right here.
Yeah,
that's
what we're actually drinking house whiskey.
This is the house whiskey.
Yeah, so
which is fitting because we were just talking about this is the pub. So the pub has a house drink, and that's what this is.
Got the house whiskey flowing right now, but I think it's awesome. Like I actually was talking about putting a bar right in that area in my house since I moved in. Yeah. And my dad surprised me with it. Race Chaser Dad.
Yep, coming through in the clutch.
The legendary Race Chaser came through with something I didn't even expect. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll show it off at the break.
We'll have to do that.
And then we'll get our second beer, which is going to be a fun one. It's a cool
that is space themed.
That one is very, very space themed. So, but yeah, the newspaper is great. I think like the mirror is amazing too, but it's fitting that it's behind the bar now, where it belongs, so to speak. It's found its home. Yeah. And then this is just as cool. I love that they have the capsule like artistically like coming through the mission patch is just so cool.
That's the thing that like I saw this. I think I got this thing probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think you've had it.
I think I remember showing you when I got it, but I kind of like that was my vision. I wanted like 3 different cool like Apollo themed, or from Apollo newspapers from that era. So
memoirs.
This is really cool. Just the 60s newspaper, just kind of like that kind of look and that kind of like graphics that they have on the newspaper. And it's also a really cool article. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and the other one that I have is the Apollo 17 newspaper, and there's a big Saturn V on it and everything. We'll have to feature that one. Maybe I'll take this one down.
Yeah, swap them.
Yeah, so we're versatile here.
Yes.
We can move stuff around. This
fluid.
We're very fluid. So we can definitely make that happen.
Yeah. So we're really excited to be chit-chatting with you tonight. Like David said, I didn't particularly race, but went to go spectate the race this afternoon. Brewery Vivant, which is becoming this big deal nowadays. Like each year it seems like it's bigger and bigger and bigger. It attracts this nationwide audience of racers to come out, so it's pretty cool. But to kind of dive in, I figure we'll put in maybe one of those 3 topics in the first half, and then we'll see where we're at. But maybe let's start with the Israeli moon landing. Yeah, this one kind of, I think for a lot of people didn't really know about this.
No, they didn't know, including me, really.
Yeah, I had heard about it a little, but it was it wasn't known to me that they were actually going to make the attempted moon landing until like the day before. Yeah. So the story goes is that the Google sound like an old person. The Google
They contacted the Google.
Yeah. So Google does this X Prize where they put seed money towards a project, and the Google X Prize, this most recent iteration, was to have a lunar lander, and the Israeli space agency, I guess, won the X Prize, and so their lunar lander was picked as the best, and they sent it. And what I think I was showing you the picture. They launched it into low Earth orbit on a budget rocket, and then it orbited for a while, and then it just slowly lost orbit with Earth, and kind of yo-yoed its way to the moon until it eventually caught into the moon's orbit, which is pretty cool.
When you think about it, how far away the moon is.
Yeah.
Just imagine how long that took.
I think it did take a long time, and it's a kind of a novel idea, especially on like a low budget. I mean, you're not using very little propulsion to get there,
Yeah.
Like, so you're really using mostly natural occurring forces to get yourself all the way to the moon. So the graphic is really interesting that they put out. It shows you the elliptical path of kind of how it yo-yoed its way there, and then they had it orbiting the moon, and then eventually they decided, all right, today's the day. Press the button or whatever, and it initiates the sequence to start landing.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it did not.
No,
but
and I started kind of watching it a little bit when I was at work, just that feed that they had going on YouTube. But
yeah,
the build up was really kind of exciting, and it would have been really a really big deal to have them make a successful landing.
Yep,
like any other any other landing really, but this would have been a huge deal, especially a mission like this where it's just more or less like lower budget, just a kind of like proof of concept, landing something like that. But yeah, a little bit of a bummer that they.
Yeah, it would have been neat to see such a small country really do something so big, and I think they have a lot to be proud on, a lot to hang their hat on. The last transmission was very near to the surface. It's like they pretty much made it. They just didn't successfully land.
Yeah.
To then do the steps after landing, which were all the different things that it was going to try to do.
Were they going to try to just do a bunch of tests?
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know the exact details. I don't know. I don't think it was anything particularly groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sure there was plenty of new stuff that would have been discovered by this thing, because there's not really been that many. Obviously, there's not been many trips to the moon at all. Yeah. So they would have been just the fourth country to actually have landed. Russia, the U.S., China, and then Israel.
Yeah.
So I know they've already announced the second one. They're going to do it again. They're going to send another one and go for it. So kudos to them for, not just saying, well, we failed. Technically, we failed this mission, and we're just going to go ahead and pack it up, and just Israel is just not going to have a space program or whatever.
Yeah.
Not the case.
That's good.
So I don't know how it's pronounced, but the name of the lander is Beresheet. So like Beresheet or I don't know how to pronounce it, but that they're doing Beresheet 2.0. So,
oh, okay.
So yeah.
2X.
Yep. So
right.
So that'd be really neat to follow that along.
Yeah.
They just made that announcement, I think today actually, that they were going to go for number 2.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like I guess global. Whoever has a space program, it's more or less like you're starting to see this push to the moon, and little steps, like as far as sending like a rover or just a little probe lander or whatever it is. It's that you're starting to see this kind of theme of a more or less another space race, I think, and it's with multiple different nations. So it's actually pretty exciting because you think, I mean, at least I think it's only going to get bigger and bigger as this goes. So I think obviously each country, especially if they're starting out and they have a smaller program, they're going to start small and then they're going to work their way up. So you never know what you might see in another 10 years. So
yeah, for sure. There's countries that as like just someone that very casually follows news in general or space news. If you're someone like that, there are some countries that you might not expect necessarily to have a foothold in the space game, but they do.
We should try to send something up to the moon.
Yeah, we should. Just launch a rocket and just figure out how
just
to
go
get
to the
there.
hobby shop,
Yeah,
grab a rocket, hopefully
an Estes rocket,
try to get it up there.
a foot pump
Right.
rocket.
Yeah.
see what we can do. But yeah, so that was really neat to see. They had that little placard on the side of it that said, I think it said "Small Country, Big Dreams."
Yeah.
It was neat to see. And a lot of people were pulling for him. I think the whole world was pulling for him. They had a really cool, relatively novel